Snehaji, thank you for having me here. Greetings to all the Mirror Now viewers and my co-panelists. It's very interesting that you are doing a social class analysis of the budget, which is actually responding to a very closely fought election and the social issues and the issues raised in that particular election. But this is very interesting. Let me put this into perspective, and then I'll come to sort of respond to your specific question. I want to put in perspective
Please.
that what is middle classes in India? At a very expansive definition, I mean, there's lots of debates. It's less than a third of our population. Yeah, 31% is broad estimates. I think it's much lesser than that, given what we have. Now, from that perspective, the concerns of the middle classes, and some of those have been spoken to by my previous panelists, but also I was listening into the ex-finance minister speak to those. They are on the concerns of what? Jobs. There are concerns on taxes and tax benefits. There are concerns on housing. In general, I'm speaking, concerns on loans. Now, if I look at this budget from that standpoint, and you started with jobs, now this budget has direct and I think welcome steps, let me put it that way, of announcements, a slew of announcements for first-time job seekers, for EPFO registered people, what I call employment-linked incentives. Now, and apprenticeship, as you talked of, or internship, as you talked of, a crore of people at 5,000 rupees. So there are those benefits. There are benefits to employers as well in terms of EPFO contributions and so on and so forth. There are, 2 lakh crores being spent on job creation over the next 5 years. But also, if you look at capex investments, which have climbed up to 3.4% of the GDP, and in continuation with the interim budget, a lot of those capex investments into rural infrastructure, urban infrastructure, will end up in companies, will end up with contractors. Broadly, if you look at it, most of these, given the skill gaps we have, given the kind of employment that industry is creating, most of those are likely to be taken in the majority by young people, and very welcome and needed, given the jobs challenge, but young people of middle classes. So I think that's first thing that I want to speak of. The second thing that I want to speak of is tax benefits. I think Mr. Lloyd Mathias has spoken to those. Angel investors, angel tax finished, standard deduction limits raised, compliance, burdens made easier. But also this whole question of TDS on life insurance reduced, tax deducted as source on life insurance reduced. There are concerns, and those concerns have also been outlined. Concerns on, indexation on property tax, indexation on those kind of asset categories that we are talking of. There are concerns with reference to there was a larger expectation of tax SOPs. The concerns you raised and indicated on GST. But let me point out, GST is a non-progressive tax. So the poor pay as much as the rich pay, as far as GST taxation is concerned, and it's critiqued on that account. But the third question, therefore, at this broadly, food inflation remains a concern. Then, Snehaji, let me also point to the fact that as far as housing is concerned, 3 lakh, 3 crore houses for urban poor, rural poor, but also middle classes.
Right.
So I think there are SOPs. The way the stock markets reacted was a bit surprising. So Nifty or share market, the first response
was it?
Either there was not a full class analysis, or if there was a full class analysis, I think it sniffs off what I call class antagonism for the majorities. But now turn the question around. If you were a working class in India, if you were an agricultural worker who can't register into an EPFO, if you were a construction worker in the cities of India, if you were a street vendor, if you were a fish worker, and so on and so forth, the list continues, and these are millions and millions and majorities of our informal sector working classes. What is the benefit? There are some benefits and some indications in terms of agriculture investment, rural infrastructure investments, some saturation aspects to social justice, but largely they don't have those benefits. So from their perspective, this budget is fairly middle classish. From their perspective, this budget is likely to be cornered, or the gains of this budget are likely to be cornered by young people or others in the middle classes. So I think we need to sort of look at it in a wider context. So I'll stop here, but please.